I baked a cake for my daughter's graduation. My in-laws smashed it by accident and laughed, saying she'd better get used to disappointment. I didn't argue. I just took out my phone and opened a folder labeled Evidence because I spent 2 days baking that cake. Not because I'm some Pinterest mom or trying to show off, but because I wanted my daughter to feel seen. She's 22, first in our family to graduate college. No handouts, no shortcuts, just hard work. She got a full ride to University of Maryland and graduated magna cum laude, all while working part-time and helping me take care of her little brother when I had double shifts at school. So, yeah, I wanted to do something special. I made the cake from scratch, 4 layers, chocolate sponge with vanilla cream and fresh strawberries. I piped burgundy and gold trim to match her graduation stole. I even ordered this acrylic topper that said, "We're so proud of you, Lily." It was more than a cake. It was me saying, "I see you. I'm proud of everything you've done." The party was at our place in Rockville. Backyard. Folding chairs. Paper plates. I rented a Bluetooth speaker from a library and played her favorite playlist. We're not fancy people, but we show up. Her friends came. My coworkers. A couple of her professors even stopped by for an hour. It was going great. Then my in-laws showed up. I begged my husband to keep it just us and the people who mattered. He said it would look bad if we didn't invite them. His mother, Marianne, has hated me from the beginning. She's the type who thinks if you didn't go to college in the 80s wearing shoulder pads, you're trash. I teach 7th grade English. That's trash to her. She used to tell me my daughter would grow up spoiled without a proper family structure. Meanwhile, she's been divorced twice and once slapped Rick's girlfriend at a wedding. Rick is my husband's younger brother. Works in some car dealership. Always making crude jokes. He used to call my daughter valedictorian Barbie and say stuff like, "She ain't gonna get a boyfriend talking about Shakespeare." Classy. They arrived halfway through the party. Rick already smelled like vodka. Marianne was dressed like she was going to a yacht club, not a backyard graduation. My daughter didn't even greet them. She gave me this look like, "Why are they here?" I couldn't answer her. I kept my head down and tried to stay busy, making sure the potato salad didn't go bad, and handing out cans of soda. My daughter was out back, laughing with her friends, taking selfies with her professors. She was glowing. I waited until the end to bring the cake out. I wanted it to be the final thing, the sweet part after the speeches and the toasts. I carried it out carefully, set it on the table in the middle of the patio, and called her over. She walked up, looked at it, and covered her mouth. I heard her whisper, "Oh my God, Mom," like she couldn't believe I did all that. She was about to take a picture. And that's when they ruined it. Marianne walked right up, wine in hand, and stared at the cake like it had offended her. "Oh, you made that?" she said. "How quaint." I didn't respond. I was just watching her, silently begging her not to start. But then Rick came stumbling up behind her, loud and stupid. "Yo, does it have weed in it?" "Just kidding, I'm kidding." Or am I? They both laughed. My daughter walked away, without saying a word. Then Rick leaned against the table, elbowed it hard, like a dumb drunk. The cake shifted. I tried to reach out, but Marianne suddenly took a step forward and tripped, more like shoved herself, into the other side of the table. The cake went flying. It splattered across the concrete, strawberries and frosting everywhere. Gasps. People stopped talking. My daughter turned around, saw it on the ground, and froze. Marianne just stood there, smirking. "Oops," she said. Well, she'd better get used to disappointment. It builds character. Rick clapped like it was a comedy sketch. "You can bake another one, right? Come on, Betty Crocker." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just pulled my phone out of my pocket, unlocked it, and opened a folder labeled Evidence. Because I've been documenting everything for 3 years. Every nasty comment. Every time Marianne insulted me in front of my kids. Every voicemail she left threatening to take them for weekends if I didn't show respect. Every time Rick texted some weird meme or made a comment about Lily's body. I screenshotted everything. I saved audio. I even had video of Marian slurring during Christmas dinner, saying, "Lily needs to be knocked down a peg." I kept it all, because I knew this day would come, and I wasn't going to let it slide. They wanted a reaction? I was going to give them one. Just not the kind they were expecting.
I didn't say a word to them that day.
Not during the rest of the party, not even when they made a scene trying to leave. Marian made some fake apology to my husband, blaming her, me acting up, and Rick getting in the way. Rick just said, "It's just a cake, geez. Lighten up." But my daughter didn't even look at them. She went inside, closed her bedroom door, and didn't come out until the last guest had left. When I finally went in to check on her, she was sitting on the bed, holding a paper plate with a piece of sheet cake someone else had brought. Her eyes were red. "I'm fine," she said, voice flat. "They're always like that." That broke me more than the cake ever could. She'd grown up thinking this kind of cruelty was normal. She'd learned to swallow it just to keep the peace. That was on me. So I started putting things in motion. The next morning, I emailed a lawyer I'd talked to once before, just in case. She specialized in family harassment and defamation cases. I sent her the folder I'd been building. She responded in less than an hour. "This is extensive," she said. "We can definitely start with cease and desist letters. But if you're willing to push further, I think we can build something stronger." I told her I was. Over the next month, we built a timeline. Every event, every message, every time Marian had come to our home and insulted me in front of guests. I had 3 teachers from my school who remembered a Christmas party where she loudly told people I was playing house in a middle-class sandbox. I had texts from Rick, some of which bordered on harassment toward my daughter. Nothing illegal, but disturbing enough. Meanwhile, I kept quiet. I didn't tell my husband what I was doing. Not yet. But then he started pushing back. He noticed I wasn't talking to his family, wasn't returning Marianne's calls, wasn't reminding our kids to send birthday messages. He got defensive. "They didn't mean it," he said one night. "It was an accident. You're blowing this out of proportion. Is that what you really believe?" I asked him, "That she just tripped?" He paused, then said, "Well, I mean, she didn't mean to ruin the cake." It hit me right then, he was never going to defend us. He'd spent so long keeping the peace that he forgot who he was supposed to protect. The next week, I gave him an envelope. Inside was a printed letter from my lawyer, addressed to Marianne and Rick, and a list of incidents with dates and short summaries. He didn't even finish reading it. He threw it on the table and said, "Are you serious right now?" "Yes," I said. "This is serious. And if you don't back me up, we're going to have a different conversation." He didn't say much after that. But I could tell he was shaken. He started sleeping in the guest room, spent more time at the gym, staying out late. I wasn't surprised. Then came the retaliation. 3 days after Marian got her letter, she showed up at my school. She came during dismissal, walked right into the front office, and asked to speak with the principal. She said she had concerns about the kind of behavior being modeled to children and handed him a printout of a private Facebook comment I'd made years ago where I called Rick a walking DUI. I got called into a meeting. Thankfully, my principal knew me well and had already seen the post. But still, Marian tried to get me fired at a public middle school over a comment I made before she even had a Facebook account. That was the moment everything escalated. This wasn't just about a cake anymore. She wanted to destroy me. After Marian tried to get me fired, I knew I had to go all in. My principal didn't discipline me. He actually told me to keep a file and document everything moving forward, but the damage was done. Word spread around the staff lounge. A few teachers asked quietly if everything was okay. I lied and said it was just a misunderstanding with my husband's family. But behind the scenes, I started preparing for something bigger. I gave my lawyer full permission to escalate. We filed for a civil harassment injunction, one step short of a restraining order. It wasn't about jail time, it was about creating legal documentation. We also began drafting a defamation suit, starting with Rick. The texts he sent, some about my daughter's appearance, one about being legal now LOL, were enough to get the attention of a second attorney, This one focused on cyber harassment and image rights. Then the twist I didn't expect came from my daughter. She came home one afternoon, dropped her backpack and said, "Mom, I think Uncle Rick has been messaging my friend Jessica. Like, weird messages." I froze. Jessica was 19. Quiet, anxious. Her and Lily had been friends since high school. She showed me her phone. There it was. Rick had DM'd her on Instagram after the party, saying things like, "You looked grown at the party, and bet you're not as innocent as Lily makes you sound." I felt sick. We saved the messages. Screenshotted everything. Jessica agreed to sign a statement. It wasn't enough for criminal charges, but it painted a pattern, and in civil court, patterns matter. Meanwhile, my husband kept getting quieter. He wasn't defending them anymore, but he wasn't defending us either. He moved back into the bedroom, like that would fix something, but barely spoke. Then I found out he'd been talking to Marianne behind my back. He'd been forwarding her my texts.
Even told her what the lawyer said.
I saw it on his phone when he left it on the nightstand. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just said, "I didn't want things to get out of hand." I stared at him and said, "You're not neutral. You're just weak." He packed a bag and left that night. 2 days later, Marianne posted a public Facebook post that changed everything. She claimed I was mentally unstable, threatening the family with legal nonsense, and poisoning my daughter against them. She even implied, without naming me directly, that I led a child near predators. That last part? That was a shot at my classroom,
At my job.
but it backfired. Because a parent at my school saw the post and reported it to the school board, thinking Marianne was a parent spreading rumors about a teacher. It triggered a mandatory investigation, and that meant the lawyers got involved on both sides. Once my lawyer submitted the context, including Rick's DMs, Marianne's school visit, and the years of harassment, the tide turned. Marianne had started a fire she couldn't control. She thought she could shame me into silence. But instead, she lit the match that burned her entire image to the ground. The investigation into Marianne's Facebook posts lasted 3 weeks. In that time, my lawyer secured a preliminary injunction. Marianne was legally barred from making any public statements about me, my daughter, or my profession. Rick received a separate notice of intent to sue for harassment and defamation, backed by statements from Jessica and 3 other women Lily and I tracked down, 2 former high school friends, 1 waitress he'd messaged while drunk after a family dinner. Each one had a story. None had gone public. Until now. I stayed quiet online. I didn't respond to Marianne's smear post. I didn't engage. I let her dig the hole herself. And she kept digging. She tried to rally the rest of the family. My husband's aunt called me, crying, saying Marianne was falling apart and that we needed to forgive each other. I asked her if she'd seen the messages Rick sent to a teenager. She hadn't. I sent them. She never called again. My husband moved in with Rick temporarily. Said he needed space to think. I knew what that meant. He wanted to ride out the storm from a safe distance. One night, Lily came into my room holding a piece of paper. It was an invitation and awards ceremony at her university. She was receiving a student advocacy award for creating a support group for first-gen college students. She looked hesitant. "You don't have to come if it's too much," she said. I looked at her and said, "I'll be in the front row." She nodded. Then she whispered, "They said I can speak. Like, at the podium. I think I might say something about family." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about punishment. It was about reclaiming space.
Voice. Pride. Dignity.
I didn't want to just hurt Marianne and Rick anymore. I wanted the truth out. I wanted people to see exactly who they were and what they'd done.
Not just to me,
but to my daughter, to the women they belittled, to the life they tried to poison with their smug entitlement. So I started organizing everything. Digital evidence, testimonies, timelines. And I began working with someone new. A friend of mine from high school, Emily, now an investigative reporter for a small regional magazine. She specialized in family court coverage, and she knew how to handle sensitive stories with names changed and details protected. She agreed to look at everything. 3 days later, she texted me one line: "This is going to blow up." Emily published the article 2 weeks later. It was titled, "When Family Turns Toxic, the Hidden Harassment Behind a Graduation Party Collapse." Names were changed. Identities masked just enough. But everyone in our town knew who it was about. Rockville isn't that big. The article laid it all out. Years of targeted emotional abuse, documented text messages from Rick to underage women, screenshots of passive-aggressive manipulation from Marianne, the Facebook posts that tried to smear me as unstable. It even included quotes from Jessica and one other young woman who agreed to speak anonymously. It wasn't salacious. It was honest. Quietly damning. The story caught fire locally. Then it spread. A few education advocacy pages picked it up. A women's safety nonprofit shared it. My inbox blew up with teachers, parents, even students thanking me for speaking out. Lily's University shared the piece during her awards ceremony. When she walked across the stage to accept her award, half the room stood and clapped longer than I expected. She looked out at me in the front row. I was crying. She smiled and mouthed, "Thank you." Rick was fired from the dealership within a week. They couldn't ignore it, not after screenshots leaked on Twitter. Someone posted a now-deleted TikTok reading some of his DMs. It got over 80,000 views. He tried to claim it was fake. Then he tried to say it was just jokes. His boss didn't care. Marianne's reputation took longer to crumble, but it did. The women's club she chaired quietly replaced her. She lost her speaking invite at the annual county fundraiser, and someone filed a formal complaint against her HOA board position. She resigned for health reasons. No one bought it. As for my husband, he tried to come back. He showed up one afternoon with a box of his things, looking tired and worn down. "I just want my family back," he said. I looked at him. Really looked. "You chose the wrong side. Now you can live with it." I didn't slam the door. I just closed it. A month later, the civil harassment order became permanent. Marianne and Rick can't contact me or my daughter. At all. Not even through third parties. If they try, it becomes a criminal matter. I sleep better now. My daughter? She started writing too. Her first op-ed got published in her university's paper. What we're willing to tolerate until we stop. It ended with one line. Sometimes, protecting your peace means setting the house on fire as you leave. She learned that from me. And I learned that sometimes revenge isn't loud. It's legal.
Public. Permanent.
They tried to ruin her moment. Instead, we ruined their legacy.